Yo, what's good? Welcome to my Poison Trapper build video. I had a few people request this, so I'm gonna just go ahead and drop this. This is for PvP and PvE. Um, the build is basically based around two traps: Poison Trap, Death Trap, and then it's also using Marksman skills. So if you're somebody, a rogue who doesn't really want to follow the meta of Twisting Blades, and then you want to try Marksman build with high damage, high cooldown reset, this is going to be for you. So let's go ahead and hop into it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start with my skills, my skill tree. So I got 2 points in puncture. I'm not actually using it. Currently, I'm using 2 core skills. And this is because of a unique gloves that gives me +2 to all core skills and some really other good stats. So again, the current build I'm rocking is a little bit gear dependent. However, if you don't have +2 to both core skills, it might not be worth it. Or really, not +3, because both of these are 8, which is huge. But if you don't have these gloves, the skill that is optional for this build is rapid fire. I use penetrating shot for the more AoE and the more burst, but rapid fire, it almost counts as a normal attack for this build because we go rapid fire into enhanced rapid fire for the crit, and then improve rapid fire for we gain 15 energy when cast on a vulnerable enemy. And with my Paragon board, every time I hit an enemy within 20 seconds, they're going to be instantly vulnerable. So I am literally gaining 15 energy just by using a 20 energy skill. So it literally only costs 5 energy. And with my base energy regen being so high, I can pretty much just spam rapid fire. And I'm gaining energy from concealment as well as death trap. So again, rapid fire basically becomes your single target DPS. And also it's almost like a normal attack. You do not need a normal attack for this build. But this skill is optional. You can take this out for an imbuement, or you can take this out if you're not going to use an imbuement and you're getting bursted, you can take it out for Dark Shroud. That way you have more damage reduction. But like I said, currently I'm using Rapid Fire because I'm in a pretty good spot with my build. And then I'm using Penetrating Shot. Like I said, Penetrating Shot increases 10% damage. And then the Penetrating Crit, on improved crit. After that, I'm 3 out of 3 for weapon mastery, and then I have +3 from items, bringing it to 6, giving me 30% increased critical strike damage on crossbows, and 30% increased damage to healthy enemies with daggers, or 18% increased damage with swords. I don't really use bows, and I typically would prefer a sword over a dagger for the affixes, but moving on, I use dash, only level 1. You don't need it higher than level 1. Then after this, I have agile using cooldown, increases my dodge chance for 12%. So literally just by using a skill, I'm gaining 12% dodge chance. That has no cooldown, so it's almost like while attacking, you have a permanent 12% dodge chance. While stealth, you gain 9% of your life per 1 second. I am stealth for about 4 seconds, so I am gaining somewhere around like 36% health if I stay stealth for 4 seconds. And then I have another perk that pairs with concealment with poison trap. I'm gonna show you. Concealment, gain 40 energy, and then the next hit is a crit, a guaranteed crit when coming out of stealth, which is huge. Because not only are you going to apply vulnerability with your first hit to a mob, you're also going to be a guaranteed crit with that concealment. Poison trap into a poison trap knockdown, which is again huge because I could steal into 4 poison traps, knock them down into a death trap, which traps them into the center of that, and then they take 10% more damage. So I can it's a huge burst combo. Exploit, you deal 8% increased damage to healthy and injured enemies, and then 9% increased damage to vulnerable, because this build is based around vulnerability. I'm not using any imbuement, but like I said, shadow imbuement for AoE, poison imbuement for single target, frost imbuement, cold imbuement works really well with this build for survivability and CC in both PvP and PvE. And then you would also get frigate freeze if you would go into cold imbuement. However, uh, I really like having rapid fire for that extra single target damage. Rapid fire has much higher sustained energy and overall DPS on boss fights, whereas penetrating shot is more of a finisher and has a lot of good mapping ability and mob clear. And I'm using Death Trap, Prime Death Trap, Supreme Death Trap, and this is for the this is my ultimate. It pulls them in, and then it pretty much just it's almost gonna reset cooldown. You get 10-second reduced cooldown for killing enemies, and then with my specialization on preparation, I'm getting more cooldown reduction, and then with my exposure, I'm getting another chance to reduce the cooldown. So I'm getting like sometimes like 4 or 5 resets depending upon how many mobs I'm killing with that trap and poison trap combo. But I'm getting just so much cooldown reduction that it's by far the viable uh, most viable ultimate for this build. Aftermath, I gained 50 energy. I was having it at 75, but with rapid fire, if you don't use rapid fire, you want to max this out to 3 so you gain 75 energy. If you are using rapid fire, you only need 2. You don't really need it with rapid fire on your build because rapid fire has so much energy sustain. Between that, your ultimate on Death Trap and Concealmet, it's your energy sustain is really good on this build, so it's not that big of a deal. I have only one in Adrenaline Rush, really, just so I can get to haste. And haste is just it gives you that extra 5% movement speed or extra 5% attack speed. Once I get more skill points, I will be maxing out haste. That's probably like the first thing I want to max out as I get more skill points from map completion or renown. But yeah, so that's my specialization. Those are my abilities. Let's go over gear very quickly. Currently, I have 8.2k attack power, 5.7 armor, 5.4 life, 590 dex. Notice my strength is the second highest. That's my second primary stat. And then intelligence is my third primary stat. Willpower is just there, man. Willpower doesn't really work that well on rogues, in my opinion, because we don't have a way to multiply our overpower damage. Healing received is always useful or whatever, but it's just not something I'm like actively going for. I'm using the Cowl of the Nameless Unique for the crowd control duration, which is huge on Death Trap, Poison Trap, all my knockdowns. You want as much crowd control as possible. It gives me maximum energy, so that I really have 133 energy. With that and something, one of my accessories, I'm getting dex and cooldown reduction, and then increased lucky hit chance pairs really well with this build, and you'll see why. Damaging an elite grants me a barrier on my chest piece. I have all damage. That 8% damage at the top is actually all damage, which all damage is one of the best damage modifiers in the game. Really, the damage modifiers you want to go for in this build is damage, vulnerability, your main stat, which is dex, and then crit chance. Those are like top 4, crit damage, and other things. And then for your defensive stats, you want to go for like armor, damage reduction, maximum health. But marksman skill damage with range weapons are really good. I have attack speed, vulnerable damage, shadow clone damage, and then +3 to rank core skills on my unique gloves. I'm trying to get this as ancestral because you notice most of my gear is ancestral right now except my gloves, but I will not be replacing these until I get them ancestral. They're just too damn good. I get shadow clone passive on the casting ability, so that's an ultimate shadow clone, and then I'm using ultimate death trap. It pairs so well with this build. It's literally made for marksman. I'm telling you, it's made for marksman. I don't know any other build. I theorycrafted so many builds, and I don't know any of them that can really use core skills like this. So then I have my pants, ancestral, total armor, maximum life, dodge chance, and then damage reduction. All stats that are very good and multiplicative on rogue. And then we have ancestral boots. These are another unique. Again, best in slot. The boots and the gloves are best in slot. The helmet, it's kind of debatable, but again, remember, so I'm gaining armor on my legendary aspect for my pants, and then for my boots, I'm leaving behind the chill. It's a chill aspect. This is a unique aspect. Um, Slow duration reduction, make a slow screw you over. Crowd control duration, uh, because we love crowd control. Increase 18% movement speed because we love to move fast. Cold resistance because cold will screw you over with this build. If you get cold or frozen, or chilled or slowed or anything like that, you're just gonna die on marksman. Your whole job is to kite. So when you get into a tight position, you're just gonna conceal. And with our insane cooldown reduction, conceal is up almost every rotation. It's really amazing. For my accessories, resistance to all elements. Obviously, again, I'm rocking red gems for my accessories. I'm rocking skulls for the extra armor. I tried to rock diamonds, but I believe skulls are better because the more armor you have, it's just gonna be a lot safer for you as a rogue, man. You want to stack as much armor as possible. But I have increased marksman skill damage, energy cost reduction for my skills for more sustain, +3 ranks to weapon mastery passive, which is huge because it's giving me um, direct increased damage to my weapon. And then again, all damage. I got really lucky with this. Vulnerable damage, max energy, crit, max life. Vulnerable damage. Notice I'm stacking vulnerable damage wherever I can. And then I'm using the so this imprint, dealing direct damage to an enemy, has a 59% chance to daze. It's really good if you have this unique. However, if I replace this unique, I will never use this passive. And also, another unique aspect is that's better than that would be the one that drops a legendary bubble when you're hit while not healthy. You get it from the first campaign and it drops throughout the game. I think it's overall better, to be honest, but the chance to daze allows me to get more DPS out. Whereas the bubble, while not healthy, is on a 90-second cooldown. So it's up to your. I'm just really testing this out. I still might go back to the bubble, but this is really good when paired with that unique helmet. My skills deal up to 13% increased damage based upon primary resource, and with this build, I can always keep high resources because I can use rapid fire with 15 energy and gain energy over time. And then, um, poison trap no longer breaks stealth. This one's huge. This one is huge for this build because I can use 4 poison traps every time I stealth with poison trap. It's insane. And then I have plus lucky hit chance, which again pairs pretty well with um, my bow legendary aspect and my amulet legendary aspect. Um, Critical chance, critical damage, vulnerable damage. My bow has your marksman skills have a 10% chance to drop an arrow storm, dealing 5,000 damage over 3 seconds. This scales so hard. I have one of these with 9k damage and I'm waiting to put on a better bow because my bow is not very good. I only got this one for the DPS because DPS is very important, and then it has dex, but it doesn't have vuln damage, it doesn't have crit. It's not great. It has damage to trap skills and whatever, but those other stats are really not good. Only my dex is good, and only my gem and my imprint are gonna stay. This bow is gonna be replaced, but it's a really good placeholder for now because it's ancestral, and I really just got to world tier 4 yesterday. Ancestral sword with crit strike damage, core damage, damage to crowd control, dex, vulnerable damage. Those are like almost all perfect stats. If I could have got all damage instead of damage to crowd control enemies, this probably would have been perfect. Or crit instead of core skill damage, it might have been perfect. But these are still really good stats. I'm using the penetrating shot AoE, and then I'm using the rapid fire AoE, so that both of my skills, no matter what I'm doing, are always AoEing. However, rapid fire has more single target damage. But even when I'm single target damaging, I'm still AoEing with this legendary aspect. This build has so much utility, man. So much utility. Dex, and then damage to distant, close, and ultimate skill damage. So again, this sword is placeholder. It does not have vulnerability damage. Does not have dex and crit. I will be replacing I will be definitely replacing this sword and this bow. However, it's a little difficult to find the exact right items with you know the perfect affixes. So we'll definitely see when I can replace those. All right, so let's go ahead and show my Paragon board where it's at right now for me being level 72. I'm coming up here with strengths. I'm getting the magic nodes. I will come back for this maximum life node eventually, but this is just so I can get to the next board quickly as possible. I come up. I'm getting all the armor magic nodes. I'm using efficacy, so I gain 65% bonus to rare nodes. Um, so this rare node and this rare node for the damage index, and then for the armor index, are getting pretty huge bonuses. Getting bonus to these magic nodes, and I'm getting a path to get some int and dex, enough intelligence so I can get my glyph, and also come down here for the resistance to elements and maximum life, because having a larger health pool means less chance of dying, clearly. Getting the maximum life again, all the stats that you want to get are always going to be multiplicative. And then I have vulnerable damage on my glyphs here. That way, literally every time I hit a mob, they're just going to be instantly vulnerable. And I'm always going to have vulnerability without like any chance of missing vulnerability. If I use penetrating shot, then it's gonna hit like every mob. Every mob that it hits is gonna have vulnerable damage, which almost every mob on my map gets hit with one penetrating shot. And then I can spam down rapid fire for single target, whatever. They're all vulnerable, whatever. It just pairs very well with this build. And then so for my third, I'm probably gonna go marksman. However, the other good glyphs, or I mean ranger, not marksman. So this will probably be my third glyph that I use. However, other good glyphs are going to be the ones that increase the rare and the magic nodes. Like devious for magic nodes is okay. It's not as good as diminish. Diminish is probably going to be the fourth that I use. However, my build calculator, I do have some of these. So don't take the build calculator as 100% set in stone. I'm gonna have to theory craft once I get to those levels. I'm just showing you the glyphs that I think are good for now, and it may be subject to change. But as of right now, this board is pretty set in stone. I'm coming up here to damage the heavily enemies and getting my ultimate no witnesses. My ultimate gives 30% increased damage and granting 10% increased damage when cast, which is huge. Yeah, these are my boards, you guys. These are my boards. Um, oh, I guess, yeah. So this board, you can tell by legendary node for those of you it's called no witnesses. That's why I have the legendary node, no witnesses. And then the next board that I'm going to use after this is going to be, I believe, exploit weakness. And then after exploit weakness, it'll go tricks of the trade, and then cunning stratagem are the boards that I'm planning on using. So those will be pretty set in stone. However, the glyphs and the order of the glyphs maybe a little bit subject to change. Let's go ahead and hop into a let's see, tier 24 or 27. Ooh, I have a magic font 28. What time is it? 20. Still a magic find, and I'm sure you guys the rotation on the build and everything. That way, you have everything you need to be successful.
Not in town.
One thing I do like about Marksman too is that because my bow is so good, so high level, um, my mount skill does a lot of damage, dude. It does a lot of damage. It's literally like an ultimate built into your mount. Alright, just go in here. Alright. So the way that I usually start combat on Rogue, Marksman, is with my poison traps, and my death trap. Concealment, poison trap, death trap. After I gather up mobs with a little bit of rapid fire and penetrating. So I can apply vulnerable that way.
I need more time.
Those mobs are gonna die very quickly, so I just run past them. After I'm stealth, I can literally drop 4 traps there, and then literally just one shot with a couple penetrating. Once I get low energy, I can go on a rapid fire, move to the next pack.
I need more time.
I'm not wasting time picking up loot, by the way, unless it's an ancestral. But yeah, as you can see, this is a pretty high tier, and these mobs are just dying like freaking butter.
I need more time.
They've been cut through like butter, I should say. I can use rapid fire
Not ready yet.
as a filler normal attack with a couple penetrating shots just to keep my mana up. Honestly, you don't have to use potions for this class because you heal so much off
I need more time.
penetrating or off of concealment. I'm sorry. Every time you get CC'd, you just pop concealment. These mobs are a little annoying though because they just instant stun you, so I like to keep my distance from them.
I need more time.
Let's see if I can get to a mini boss just so I can show you guys kind of how that goes. I'm not gonna show the whole dungeon, but just show you a little bit. Alright, drop poison trap, into death trap, and then pull them all through my traps. Concealment is back up. I can go on their backside again here. Pull them towards me, drop a death trap. My poison traps up. Drop more poison traps. You can see the resets are really crazy for this build. When I'm fighting large groups of mobs.
I'm not ready yet.
I should have got this shrine. Oh, this guy teleports. Teleporting mobs are kind of a problem for this build. But once you get CC'd like that, you just press concealment and you really escape. And because it resets so often, it gives you a lot of survivability. Pretty low on potions, but even when I'm low, I can just conceal and play around that.
I'm not ready.
Play around my traps. This guy's a problem for us though because it teleports me and it just kind of defeats the whole purpose of my build if you can teleport right on me.
I need more time. Don't have enough energy.
Alright. See how I can stay alive even when I don't have potions, just playing around concealment. But yeah, I'm gonna finish this dungeon. But I don't want to make the video too long, so I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. Thanks for watching, you guys. Peace and love.